This video was produced by the University of Birmingham and SLoCaT and financed by RECAP. RECAP is a 6-year research programme funded by UK Aid looking into cost-effective solutions for rural road infrastructure and transport services in sub-Saharan Africa and South Asia. Rural roads, facilitating access to services, markets, employment and education. The provision of safe, reliable and affordable rural access to people in remote and isolated communities is essential. It gives them access to markets and services, job opportunities and education.
No other sector of infrastructure is as important for the poor as the rural road sector.
Rural access is a key component in achieving Sustainable Development Goals. There are 17 of these goals, agreed by the United Nations and designed to end all forms of poverty. 13 of these SDGs are directly affected by rural access. RECAP research evidence shows that an investment of $1,000 in upgrading rural roads lifts 7 people out of poverty in India and 9 in China. That about 450 million people in rural sub-Saharan Africa are still unable to reach jobs, education and healthcare services due to inadequate rural transport. And that non-farm employment opportunities resulting from improved rural connectivity have been shown to increase rural household wage income by 35%. Good rural road infrastructure promotes connectivity and social cohesion. It drives commercial activity, makes social and economic facilities accessible, and helps counteract poverty, isolation, and social exclusion.
Good accessibility has a tremendous effect in so many ways, particularly in promoting welfare of rural communities, so they can get better access to market, better access to school, better access to health centers and a hospital.
Rural roads hasten this process of what we call structural transformation, which is that it takes the economy from being largely agrarian to more manufacturing based. So basically there's a lot of labor force that was earlier involved in agriculture, which now moves over to manufacturing.
Previous roads used to be all hunky-bunky, small roads. Used to have a lot of manholes like thing and all. And it used to be very difficult for us to travel also. It used to take a lot of time. Even to tell you, my children used to take 1 hour, 1.5 hours to reach from Magadi to this place. Now today, they can come fast so that I can use the time effectively. And I'm safe, I'm happy that they are reaching the place with no problems.
Improving rural access can lead to lower costs for farm inputs and lower transport costs for marketed outputs. This increases agricultural production, which enhances food security.
Recent research has shown that good accessibility promotes poverty reduction, increases household income, increases agricultural output, improves marketing, reduces transport costs. Carrying goods by headload or by backload is actually extremely expensive compared with carrying them in a conventional truck. The farmers that don't have roads are really at a huge competitive disadvantage in terms of marketing their goods, in terms of the prices they're going to get, because they have to pay those transport costs or they get less for their goods.
Better rural transport gives access to markets and employment opportunities. This in turn generates rural income and reduces poverty.
Where I look at the impact of a rural road scheme in India, so the Pradhan Mantri Gram Sadak Yojana, Prime Minister's rural road scheme, the prices of goods in rural areas are 9% lower when you connect these villages to towns. So these are primarily goods that are imported into the villages from towns, manufactured goods largely. And then the availability of goods goes up.
Road building itself is not the only thing we need to consider. We also need to consider services as well, because unfortunately services don't automatically follow. If you build roads, you're not necessarily going to get better transport services. And around the world we found that there are huge differences in the provision of transport services. For example, in Africa, we found that transport costs can be 4 times what they are in Asia.
Not only do new roads need building, but existing roads need to be maintained. This makes funding vital.
In the past 40, 50 years, there's been a lot of construction of roads, and there's been a missing link because after putting up so much investment, there's not been the commensurate provision of resources to maintain or look after the roads.
In many developing regions, the road network is actually the largest public-owned asset in terms of value.
We face this big challenge where rural road agencies are always getting less and less resources.
We've been looking at, in recent years, at the use of agricultural tractor technology, and this seems to provide a suitable intermediate approach to road construction and maintenance.
Rural access challenges require local solutions, including road design standards tailored to local needs, the use of locally sourced materials for road construction and maintenance, the use of alternative maintenance technologies, and the engagement of local communities in providing labour, skilled work and transport services.
We need to have clear policies. We need to have policies for social inclusion. We need engagement of the communities. We need to ensure that the people who benefit from the rural roads participate in the decision making. We need good engineering. We need good engineers. And finally, we need maintenance. And a good way to guarantee the maintenance of the rural road network is engaging the communities. We need to have this capacity in the road agencies to ensure that sustainability principles are included in the whole cycle, in the whole project cycle, from the planning, the design, the construction, and the operation and maintenance of the roads.
Rural roads, reducing poverty worldwide.